50 more things that you may not have known about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to technically part 4 in this series, which will be, again, technically fact number 251, all the way up until fact number 300. Side note, for the next video in this series, I do want that video to be focused around just PvP stuff, so online battles against other players and stuff like that. So that said, there will be some repeats in that video whenever that ends up happening, but do leave your own online tips for like ranked battles, PvP, what have you, the world tournament mode, etc. in the comments of this video, and I'll use the best ones for that video again whenever that ends up happening. And finally, if you're watching this and you're enjoying it, do make sure you leave a like and subscribe, especially subscribe, because if you are watching right now, statistically speaking, about give or take 50% of you are not actually subscribed. So do make sure you subscribe, especially if you enjoy this video. And that said, play the G Fuel intro.
Use code KICK on G Fuel. Use code KICK on G Fuel. Use code KICK on G Fuel to save 1% off.
There's a special loading screen in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that pays homage to an older Dragon Ball Z game, that video game being Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. The loading screen is what you see right here of a load of Cybermen, and of course if you've played Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3, you'll know that this is one of the loading screens minigames in Budokai 3 where you repeatedly hit an input to make more Cybermen appear. Also, side note, Budokai 3 and the Budokai series and the Xenoverse series share the same developers, that developer being Dimps, and also two additional facts that I'm not counting for the video, so 3 in 1 here. To get this loading screen, you just had to complete an in-game survey. I think it was to see what you wanted to, I think it was what you want to see for future updates in the Xenoverse series, or it's for breakers. I forget which. I might mention that because this has only been available once, quite a long time ago, as of this recording and upload, and probably won't be available again, or if they do make it available, it won't be available for quite a long time. Sorry if you don't have it. The Beast Mode Awoken skill only changes your hair if you use it on either an Earthling or on a Saiyan custom character. If you use this on any of the other 3 races in the game as of right now, those being on a Margin, on a Namekian, or on a Frieza race character, it doesn't change the hair or anything at all, even if you wear like a wig or anything like that. And again, if you use it on either a Saiyan or an Earthling, it'll change it to just a copy and paste of Gohan Beast's hair from the Cell Max battle at the end of the Dragon Ball Super Superhero movie. Vados can extend her light combo by holding down the light input at this part of her combo, and it goes on for quite a long time. Yeah, it's fun more than anything. During the free Beast Mode update, they renamed Hercule's Hell's Time Rift to Mr. Time Rift. Now, I'm not going to say what the other name just because it's still fairly early in the video, if this isn't part of like a marathon or what have you, and if I say it could get the video demonetized. You can see it on the screen right now, the name of it. Yeah, which they're both correct in terms of his name, but this just seems like such a pointless update. It's like, why? I mean, I don't mind it, but it just seems a little bit strange. The Beast Mode Awoken skill is the first Awoken skill since Xenoverse 1 and the third and final DLC for Xenoverse 1 at that, to add a new Awoken skill for all races, not just exclusive to, for example, Saiyans. And that previous Awoken skill was the unlock potential, again from DLC 3, the final DLC for the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. Did you know that you can actually walk, not run, in Conton City if you ever so slightly move the left analog stick in the direction that you want to move in? Funnily enough, the Beast Mode Awoken skill for custom characters was added to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 before Gohan Beast himself was added. If you use the Beast Mode Awoken skill and pause at the right time in photo mode, you'll see that there's like purple lightning, and if you pause and move the camera anywhere on the stage, that lightning effect will actually follow the camera, which again, more than anything, I just thought that was a little bit funny. Let's move on. Every evasive skill used to cost 3 bars of stamina regardless of what evasive that was. But now, if you check the skill list, you'll notice that as of right now, some evasives still take 3 bars of stamina to use, but also other evasives, such as Instant Raise, only require 2 bars of stamina. Keep in mind, that doesn't necessarily mean one is better than the other. It just depends on what build you're using, etc, etc, etc. During a Conton City TV broadcast, even if it didn't work, you could talk to Aldo and he'll give you a special artwork loading screen. These have only been available once, but technically 6 times as part of the 5 repeat showings, like within the next day or so. But these have yet to come back, so if you haven't got these, you may not actually be able to get these ever again. You just may not. They may add them as part of a future TP Metal Store update. But again, as right now, you can't get the special artwork outside of attending one of the previous Conton City TV broadcasts. You recover ki whenever you go into a clash. Now, if you're fighting somebody online and the connection is particularly bad or laggy or what have you, this is actually fairly useful because of the desyncing issues because of the lag. You may actually end up going into quite a lot of clashes and just getting free ki, basically. The Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 developers, DIMPS, are also developers of other ongoing Dragon Ball games, those being Dragon Ball Legends, as well as Dragon Ball The Breakers. You can block, and even perfect block, Special Beam Blast, but not Special Beam Cannon, despite both of them being technically, well, a Special Beam Cannon type of skill. Quite possibly the rarest thing to see in Xenoverse 2 as of right now is one of the Super Fashion Contest winning loading screens, because again, as of right now, these have only been given out once to the winners, and I don't think all of them have been given out to all the winners. If you won, you got your loading screen and not the other loading screens that the others won, if that makes sense. So to see this, firstly, you have to join a lobby where one of the winners is actually the host of the lobby. They have to be the host. That's just how it works with the custom loading screens. And they then need to have that loading screen as the viewable loading screen, so when you're loading, you can actually see it. I just thought this was quite interesting because there's a good chance that a huge amount of people are never going to see any of these in-game unless, again, they add these at some point in the future available to purchase in Xenoverse 2, such as added to the TP Metal Store and or as part of future raid drops and raid rewards. The fastest way to increase your mentor friendship bar is to just repeat the first mentor mission. Doing this, as far as I'm aware, is the fastest and most efficient way to, once again, increase your mentor level bar. If you use the Dragon Fist ultimate attack while in the Super Saiyan God Awoken skill, your character will not glow white at the end of the attack, unlike in, I believe, every other Awoken skill. This is a harmless visual glitch, but maybe try it yourself and experience it for yourself before it, at some point, maybe will get patched out. DBS Gogeta has a unique Super Saiyan animation, which if you use it while in the middle of a combo, will almost instantly let you go into Super Saiyan rather than the usual animation, which can get your stamina broken a lot of the time. This can be particularly useful if you know or can predict when your opponent is going to vanish, so that way you can go for a sort of pseudo back hit or sort of like knockback and can then continue. Preset 2 of Majube, so the Oob preset, has energy charge. But here's the thing, when you use energy charge on preset 2 of Majube, it will instantly recover half a bar of ki. This is the only character with energy charge, even on your custom character, that has this effect. Broly's I Will Bathe in Your Blood Super Soul gives you a 40% damage increase across the board, making it one of, if not the most powerful Super Souls as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. While in Kaioken times 20, you can use skills that would normally require stamina, for example skills where you're being hit and you can use ki and stamina to counter your opponents, such as skills like Gigantic Rage and Gigantic Charge. You can use skills like that while in Kaioken times 20, and it's not going to use additional stamina. You can use data input as a giant Namekian. To do this, just use data input first, then use turn giant, and you'll then get that Ultra Instinct dodging effect. This also works for forms such as the Pale Pole Pro and Purification. Once again, use data input first, then use the Awoken skill, and it'll work as usual. During the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 network test, there was placeholder music from Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit. This is because presumably, well, it's placeholder music, and because once again, they share the same developers, that being Dimps. Some of these tracks included songs such as Sky City and I think it's May I Serve You or Can I Help You? It's the shop theme, I think, from Burst Limit. The naming of the Limit Burst feature could be a homage to an older Dragon Ball Z game that Dimps also worked on, that game being Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit. Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit, Limit Burst. Do you get it? Technically speaking, the Earthling race isn't exactly, or rather, it's not just the human race. Technically speaking, an Earthling is someone who was born or made on Earth. So, once again, technically speaking, in the Dragon Ball series, characters such as Cell and even Cell Max, although they are bio-androids, they technically are Earthlings, which does open up the doors to further customization, at least options, in a future Dragon Ball Xenoverse game or just a future Dragon Ball game in general. Goku can actually interact with his fusions. Take a listen.
Challenging a god? This will be a fun fight. Yeah, I think so too.
If you use Solar Flare, the Super Attack Solar Flare, against any of the Great Ape characters, it will temporarily stun them, or rather temporarily blind them. However, if you use this against Cell Max, it doesn't. It does nothing. Now, this could change later on as part of, you know, a future update, but at least as of the free Beast Mode Awoken skill update, it does absolutely nothing to Cell Max. Certain spots on certain stages make it impossible to use the Turn Giant Awoken skill. Now, this may seem pretty obvious, but this happened to me relatively recently where I tried to use Turn Giant on the Player 1 spawn location on the Glacier stage, and it just doesn't, like, the options grayed out. So do be careful when you use the Turn Giant Awoken skill, because again, certain spots on certain stages make it literally impossible to do so. There are several color variations of the Tapion outfit in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that have never appeared outside of any sort of official media. These are, for example, a blue and a red colored version of Tapion's outfit. Don't get me wrong, I think these look very, very, very cool and flashy, but it just seems very random that they decided to add, I think there's 5 included in the original version, in Xenoverse 2. It just seemed very, very weird that they just made a few different color variations of this outfit specifically. At least as of this upload, the Tapion outfits are the absolute rarest outfits in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, as each of them have only been given out once as part of a world tournament reward for getting a certain amount of points during the event time. The second rarest item, or rather the second rarest outfit, is the Dragon Ball Z Paragus outfit, but that's been available at least twice, maybe 3 times. I'm not entirely sure if it's been available 3 times, but it's definitely been available at least twice. And speaking of rare items, the rarest obtainable item is, technically speaking, the Tiencha Wig accessory, as once again, at least as of this upload, unless this is part of a future marathon video maybe, the Tiencha Wig accessory has only been given out once, not twice, not anything else, just once, as part of a raid reward. And that was, again, as of this upload, a couple of years ago, so maybe it'll be back soon. But given that there's still items such as certain loading screens which have never been given out as part of any sort of reward, there's a decent chance that it may not actually ever come back. I'm glad I have it. The Beast Awoken skill is technically the first Awoken skill for custom characters that, when used, it will consume ki. It's not the first Awoken skill to do so, but it is for custom characters, as the first Awoken skill that, when used, consumes ki is Pure Progress, which, again, as of right now, is only available for preset 2 of Hit, or rather, the Awoken preset of Hit, as well as custom Awoken Hit. The Zen-Ohs will say goodbye to you if you select the Tournament of Power stage and the battle ends in a timeout. Take a listen.
The battle is gonna end! No! I wanna see more! I wanna see more! Yeah, but we have to go before too long. Aw, yeah, I guess so. Okay then, see you! Bye!
There's several unused voice lines in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which may be used at some point in the future for a future Xenoverse 2 update, Xenoverse 3, what have you. But one of these, interestingly enough, is a voice line of Super Saiyan 2 Vegito. Take a listen.
Guess I'm Super Vegito 2 now!
Super Vegito 2ってとこか。
Tiencha Super Soul typically negates the damage of Kamehameha attacks. However, it doesn't work against the Breaker Energy Wave Ultimate Attack. And you may be thinking, oh, well, of course. But do keep in mind that another name, and I believe another official name for the Breaker Energy Wave, is the Angry Kamehameha. It's the attack that Goku uses to finally finish the battle against Frieza on planet Namek. The English version of Voice 7 for male custom characters is the same voice actor as Giblet from Dragon Ball Legends. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce his name. It's on the screen right now. I just don't want to butcher the name. In a rather interesting turn of events, the image of Super Saiyan Goku on the Xenoverse 2 startup screen, you know, the one with Super Saiyan Goku, Bardock, and Future Gohan, has become a bit of a meme recently called the Goku Prowler meme. That's all I'm going to say. I highly encourage you all to Google it or what have you yourself, because it is hilarious in my opinion. The Legendary Pack 1 DLC update for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 had 2 characters in that DLC. Last 2 characters being God of Destruction Toppo and Pikkon. However, there is a very good chance that originally there were supposed to be 3 characters added to that DLC pack, with the 3rd character being Full Power Toppo. Let me explain why. Keep in mind that, again, as of right now, nothing's been said about this officially, and they've got no reason to say, but I do think that Full Power Jiren was supposed to be added to Legendary Pack 1, and again, here are the reasons why. Legendary Pack 1 and Legendary Pack 2 are both themed DLC, with Legendary Pack 1 being like tournament fighters, again, Pikkon from the Otherworldly tournament, and Toppo from the Tournament of Power, with Legendary Pack 2 has DBS Gogeta, Kefla, and Kale, so these are fusion characters, a fusion DLC. So that said, this was when the world was in a very different place because of events that started with C and ended with 19, which, again, if I say, could get demonetized, whatever. But the 3rd character, or rather, the first character, rather, for Legendary Pack 2 to be revealed was Full Power Jiren, once again, a tournament-themed character. Now, again, I can't see them ever acknowledging this because, again, there's no reason for them to do it. But there is a good chance that, again, well, once again, Legendary Pack 1 was supposed to have 3 characters rather than 2, and then Legendary Pack 2 was going to have 3 characters as well if Full Power June was added to Legendary Pack 1. You can only challenge people in Conton City to a battle if they are the same level as you or higher. You cannot challenge people in Conton City if they are even just 1 level below you. Without including any special versions such as Goku Black, Zamasu Fusions, Goku Ginyu, or anything like that, there are 7 different versions of normal Goku. 16 with characters such as Zamasu and Goku Ginyu, and 51 presets of Goku, once again if you include certain things like Zamasu as well as fusions. There are 87 non-DLC characters as of DBS Future Trunks, and a whopping 251 non-DLC presets of characters, again, if you stop at DBS Future Gohan and you're not including base form Goku Black, which is technically a pre-order bonus, but if you didn't pre-order the game and you're not on the Nintendo Switch, you do need to buy him and then download him. So for the purposes of this video, we'll consider him as a DLC character. In terms of playable DLC characters, as of the Hero of Justice Pack 1 DLC update, there are 39 playable DLC characters with a total of 60 presets, again if you're including base form Goku Black. In terms of playable DLC characters, as of the Hero of Justice Pack 1 DLC update, there are 39 playable DLC characters with a total of 60 presets, again if you're including base form Goku Black. Technically speaking, Tosok is the richest character in Conton City, and more than likely in all of the Xenoverse series, and maybe going even further beyond, quite possibly the richest, or at least one of the richest characters in all of the Dragon Ball franchise. The way Super Saiyan 3 for custom characters, or rather for custom Saiyan characters, was revealed for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was absolutely legendary, given that we could only use Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 in terms of Super Saiyan forms in the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. It was revealed at the very, very end of the Anime Expo 2016 Xenoverse 2 trailer. We had the trailer which had a lot of new stuff in. Then at the end we saw the future time patroller just use final Kamehameha while in Super Saiyan 3, and it was just honestly absolutely legendary. As you may know, there are a lot of what if scenarios in Xenoverse 2. To some extent, you could argue that the entire Xenoverse series is a giant what if, but more specifically, one what if is, what if Goku used Ultra Instinct Sign against Kid Buu in the Majin Buu saga rather than later on in the Tournament of Power? If you want to know more what ifs, play the game. Hey, did you know you can swim in Xenoverse 2? Although it's very, very tricky to do, and you can only even attempt it once per fight, you technically can perfect block a limit burst activation. Android 16 shoots his charged Ki Blast out of his wrist, as in he removes his Android hand and then shoots it, which is a nice little touch right there. Although Supersonic Mode Dispo is the fastest character as of right now in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, weirdly enough, Yamcha is actually either the second fastest character or one of the fastest characters in the game, even faster than characters like Berta, I think. I just thought that was so random how they just made Yamcha super quick. If you use the Hell Flash ultimate attack on a stage, or rather at a part of a stage where there's no solid ground, the pillars of Ki will not shoot upwards. And those were 50 more things that you may not have known about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Thank you ever so much for watching. I do sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. Like what I said at the start, the next video in the series is going to probably be focused around just PvP tips, so leave those in the comments. I'll come back to this video and check the comments and all that good stuff and use the best ones for that video. And again, subscribe and leave a comment and a like if you haven't done so already. More videos on the screen right now. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you over on one of these videos on the screen right now in a second.